and incurring no student debt. You'll travel to different job sites, learn tons of skills, and in a lot of cases, be the first one on and last one off a job site. It all starts at laborers41.com.
Sean Kinsey, Morton's athletic director. How are you, Sean?
Doing well, yourself?
I'm doing all right, man. How long you been there now?
2016, I became the head football coach, and been in this role since 2021.
Yeah, that was right after the merger. We'll talk a little bit about that. But hey, just kind of following up on some of the stuff that's gone on in winter of 25 to 26. Your boys basketball team, as a matter of fact, when recording this, they lost last night at the Crown Point sectional to finish the season. What can you say about the boys this year?
We knew we had graduated a lot of talent, and this year was going to be kind of one of those years where we're trying to build back up. When you lose, just athletes like LeBron Hill and Holland Harris, we knew what we were going to be a tougher season. Kids competed through some ups and downs. Some young pieces got some exposure to what it's really like having to shoulder the load and feel good about going into this next off season, what we can do.
Who are some of the guys you were proud of this year out for the boys?
We had a couple seniors that really were strong leaders. They weren't the most vocal kind of over the years, took the back door to the bigger personalities like LeBron Hill and those kids. But Desir Broadnax and Jaden Stockdale were two kids that, throughout the off season, in season, they were consistent kids that showed up every day ready to work. And so they were able to provide some consistency through the ups and downs. They were the kids that showed up every day ready to go.
Last night it was a loss to Lake Central in Crown Point sectional. So they'll go through, and Darnell will go back and see what he's going to do for year 3 of his career. Now, Darnell, tell us about him as a head coach of the boys basketball.
Well, just first, Coach Walker is a leader of men. He has coached at Morton for years. He was on the basketball staff with Coach Hall before he passed away. And then he had been on the football staff here before my years with Coach Richards. And then coach with me and coach with Coach Mishler. So he's been a fixture here at Morton. A couple years ago, he actually transitioned and became a teacher. He was a Gary police officer for years and transitioned to education. So now he's in the building. And so he's been able to provide a lot of stability and just solid leadership for our program. And I'm excited now that really this is year 2 for him. Will be year 2 to have a full off season and really start to develop the program, from the elementary level on up is the goal.
Of course, the kind of a huge bright spot in the entire city of Hammond and north part of Lake County was your girls basketball team. Certainly Kyla Patterson, right?
Hi, this is Phil Potempa, and welcome to another edition of Notoriety. Each week we bring you everything you want to mark on the calendar, what's not to be missed, all those ticket opportunities, everything happening in Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland, and beyond. Of course, this is also our broadcast equivalent these past 9 years of all the feature stories, columns you'll read in the flagship Post-Tribune newspaper under the umbrella of Chicago Tribune Media, with everything captured at chicagotribune.com. We're so fortunate to be here with the generosity of our underwriters each week. The folks at People's Bank, Andy and Sue Arnold, our wonderful arts advocates and supporters. Theater at the Center. Each of these entities make sure that we're here to bring you what's the latest in table conversation for what's happening, arts, entertainment, lifestyles, and trending news as well. Some of you are tuned in the traditional radio dial, 12:30 a.m. as we come to you here at WJLB, our studios in Hammond. Others have the added advantage. You found us through maybe your streaming platform, through YouTube, social media. So you have a window to our world with the added advantage of the cameras to see everything happening. As we come to you, and want to stamp this broadcast as being on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2026, in case you're hearing a rebroadcast, we want to make sure you can plan accordingly. Co-host I'm joined by is a returning Luke Miller. Thank you, Luke, for being here.
Good morning.
And we have our wonderful guests that are joining us. We have a playwright, we have a director, both of the renowned. We're talking about Second Glance. Our friends at Holdcraft Players have been here many times, and they bring us some of the finest, cutting-edge, brand-new performances and some of the traditional favorites to their stage space. Our friends to the east in Michigan City. And welcome to Steve Scott.
Hey, Phil.
And our playwright is Zachary
Mark.
And Second Glance is his work that'll be opening here. If you're looking on our video cameras, if you have that advantage, you see that right around the corner, March the 20th, will be our first of performances. Goes all the way until the end of the month, until the 29th. So you've got some time yet. Steve will be the director for this brand new piece, and I love the poster because I recognize what is in that faded background, the famous lighthouse and that long landscape right along Michigan City. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit, first of all, how long it took for this stage story to really be brought to, an audience, be it maybe its first reading, its first run through, before we've gotten to where we're at now.
Sure, we did, it was Voices from the Heartland that Steve put together at Dunes Summer Theater. So we did a reading maybe a couple of years ago.
2023, I think.
Possibly.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And after we did that, Arturo Pozos came up to me afterwards, as well as Steve, and said, hey, we'd like to do it. So it was just kind of combining forces and getting to that point where we are today.
And a reminder again, because we have so many wonderful venues, Holdcraft Players, originally prior to its life, it was an auditorium to be part of a high school. It has how many seats in it?
It has about 700, but we're doing this on stage. The audience is on stage along with the actors.
Oh, so
it's
very
a much
immersive.
it's a much more intimate experience, which for this play is great.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So it's a cast of how many?
We have about 12.
12, I believe.
And I'm curious, 12, what was it like back in 2023 with that first reading? How many bodies, identities do you think?
Well, it's a hard play to do a reading of because it's kind of complicated. I think we had 15 people doing the reading. In this iteration, a couple of roles are doubled. But it was wild. But the reading went very, very well. And the audience loved it for a number of reasons, which is why Arturo was so excited about it, and which is why I was so excited about it.
And if you're just tuning in and you're getting hooked already, we're talking about a stage story that's going to be a world premiere. It's going to be at our friends at Holdcraft Players, our friends to the east. They always do some fantastic live theater performances in their theater work and original works such as this one. And the story itself is of a local hook nature, correct? So give us a little thumbnail to synopsis without giving away too much, Mr. Playwright. Zach.
Sure. We have a young man named Sam who left Michigan City to go out to New York to pursue his writing career. After numerous rejections, he finally gets an opportunity to have a book published. The publisher is interested in a story that is near and dear to his heart. It's about his grandfather, who's now been estranged from the family for about 15 plus years. Stipulation is he goes back to his hometown, talk to his grandfather to get some more insight on that story of his point of view. And by going back to his hometown, he runs into the ex-girlfriend and some other some open closed relationships that he needs to confront.
All right.
Yep.
So as a local Michigan City grad, and you're from Marquette Catholic, right? Graduate?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So was there any inspiration in creating this play from your own life?
Yes, I mean, I started it back in the late 90s before I went to college. It was the end of high school, beginning of college that I started to write this. Then I went into some different areas of work and just kind of pushed that to the side. And it wasn't until, maybe 15 plus years later, my wife got on me about, hey, what about that one play? She liked the first act or the first scene. And so I said, I'll take a look at it. And then it started to kind of write itself.
So as Luke asked, is it composite characters or, well, there's a couple. If you're within my family or friend circle, you might say, wait a minute, did you take any inspiration from fill in the blank?
Yeah, I think my family will get all the inside jokes, and yeah, for sure. There's a culmination of, a few different people, but yeah.
And I'm curious how long has been the timeline when you first did the casting and the auditions to where we are? How long has this been a work in progress?
Well, we've been thinking about it, of course, since we did the reading. We cast it, my mind is a jumble, but we cast it in January, as I recall. And we started rehearsals at the very end of February. So the actual gestation has been fairly short, but it's come after a lot of talking about it, and Zach continuing to work on the script and coming up with various iterations of that. So it's been a full process, and a really lovely one. I mean, it's a lovely play, and I didn't grow up in Michigan City, so Zach has written several plays for us about Michigan City, so each of them tells me something fascinating about that place. Excuse me. But what I think is wonderful is that I do know what it's like to go back home after having been away for a long time, no matter what the circumstances are, and that's always an odd thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that everybody can identify with, no matter where you're from.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Okay, so Zach, in that case then, since you've written about Michigan City several times, what are some of the ideals and ideas that you're writing about that keeps you coming back to the topic?
I guess just what I grew up, surrounded by family. My grandparents, my great-grandparents are all from Michigan City, so there's a lot to pull from, story-wise, from Michigan City. And I live in North Liberty now, which is South Bend, so we're still kind of in that area. Yeah. So there's a lot of good stories and good characters from Michigan City that I grew up with. That
surprised me when Steve said, well, you've done a few things. I thought this was that one that was in the back attic, and your wife said, you always said you were going to finish this play.
Right.
But meanwhile, this one's just on the back burner. She recalled you had part of it, right, even though you were producing other works, correct?
I was writing more screenplays. I also did some work with some local news television, morning shows, and doing some commercial work. So I still being creative on the side. But yeah, that was one project that once I finished it, those other stories from Michigan City and some other things kind of got the ball rolling.
Now we've hooked our audience. This is the time where we need a Vanna White here to tell us again about dates, the title, how to get tickets, and all those good things. Phone numbers and websites. Who wants to be the Vanna White here?
Well, I look like her. I have a large head. So the show performs for 2 weekends, March 20th, 21st, and 22nd, and March 27th, 28th, and 29th, 7 p.m. Central Time on Friday and Saturday, and 2 p.m. on Sunday for the matinee. The Holdcraft Performance Arts Center is at 1200 Spring Street in Michigan City. The tickets are only $15. It's cheaper than going to a movie, and it's a lot more fun, let me tell you. And the website is yptcinc.com, and you can make your ticket reservations there.
And world premiere, how often do we get to say that right here, and you never know from here where it's going to be. So you're having the opportunity to see it first as an audience member. Members of the media, we love whenever it's sometimes a first-time run, because then you get to be part of the process. You'll have feedback. Maybe there's still some fine-tuning that happens, right, along the road?
Sure.
Now, that being said, I get to ask at least one ornery Larry King, Joan Rivers question, at least one per show, and that being director and playwright together in the same room. Has it been, and I know Steve, so I kind of know the answer to this because he's very collaborative, but molding the clay together, or has there been a couple times where you had to dig in heels, playwright or director, and say, I know what your vision is, but let's just try it like this, because I think that character might, any of those kind of moments that unfold, or no, it's been pretty organic where it's just worked?
It's been pretty smooth, I think.
I think the only discussion we really had about the play itself and kind of making changes was with the final scene, how to end the play. And Zach had come up with several different alternatives, and the cast and we all talked to Zach about what we felt, and Zach produced another ending, which is even better. So it's been, I mean, I'm not a playwright, and I don't pretend to be. Playwriting is one of those things that I revere because I can't do it. So I tend to, my job as director in this case is to bring the playwright's vision to life as much as I can. And that's really what I focused on. It's also great that Zach is a really nice guy.
Yeah.
I have worked with some playwrights who weren't, and that was a little testy. But he's nice, he's reasonable, he respects what we're doing, we respect what he's doing. It's been really kind of a wonderful rehearsal process. So, yeah.
Zach?
It's been great to watch him work with the actors, just taking his time. I thought, maybe we'll just, bang this out, and get it on. He's really taken his time with each character, with each actor. And so I feel blessed to have that care.
Yeah, and again, I can't say it enough, this resume that is so incredible. I'm just always in awe of everything that Steve does. And again, we talk about east to west, from the Goodman to things that Dunes is doing right now, the Dunes Summer Theater. I love spending so much time there last summer with what you've got as your schedules there. And then now we've got Holdcraft that's right down the road. I made Luke here, our younger ingenue, watch an All About Eve, the movie. And there, of course, you have the playwright back and forth with the director and the actress is, playing both sides to try to keep. So I'm glad that everything worked smooth, which I figured Steve and I got to work together one time during the pandemic remotely for Love Letters, and he was just so helpful in helping mold and craft what became that final performance, and he's being humble when he says playwrights, because the Goodman Theater, anybody from Carol Burnett and her daughter had a play that was there. I think at one point Arthur Miller with the one about Marilyn Monroe and the famous acting family, the Strasburgs, I think, was it? That was there. So you crossed paths with so many, but also a hometown playwright. You know what their roots are like, and this play being based in Michigan City. If we can, for the folks that have the advantage of our video, if we can talk about some of the promo photos there. Remember, I used the word, I don't know if our gents agree, I said kind of immersive, because they're going to bring everybody right on stage with the chair and the seating. You're going to feel like you are a part of what's happening there. Tell me about the set with all the chairs and the table, and who all do we have there going on?
Well, the play takes place in 7 different locations, which is hard to do for any play. But when we decided, I think it needed. My first thought when I read it was it needs intimacy. It couldn't be done in a huge auditorium where mostly the actors just have to yell to be heard. Sure. So we put it on stage, and we have 3 sets at a time, kind of intermingling through the course of the show. So you really are right on top of it. The nice thing about that is that the actors can really relate to each other as characters and as humans, rather than trying to be, theatrical. So what we see here is a photo of the nursing home that 2 of the central characters are in. It's called the Three Oaks Retirement Center, and I don't think that particular name retirement center exists, but that's what it is. And they're getting ready for a bingo game. And the bingo game is probably the most savage bingo game I've seen in a long time. I mean, sometimes old people, when they're playing games, they go for the jugular, and that happens here. So,
There, I know we recognize, again, these cast members. You have cast some of our favorites that have been here in our studio. But the 2 gents there at the table, is this also part of a bingo experience? Do I see there?
No, these are the 2 best friends in the home. Jimmy, who was the grandfather that Zach was talking about, and Jimmy's played by Dean Johansson. And I forget their names. Francis, thank you, by John, played by John Riska. And they have a wonderful relationship. They're very funny, but also there's some really lovely, serious moments between them. So it's a kind of great kaleidoscope emotionally.
So now a reminder for seating, because everybody's going to be on the stage. You could probably ticket about how many seats in per performance.
About 90.
So about a 90. So
Yeah,
think of a small
yeah,
black box
yeah,
experience.
yeah.
Another reason why, again, make your reservations and plan. You want to make sure you're available. Much like a lot of the other spaces, when they're intimate like this, you can show up at the door and likely maybe couldn't get in, or somebody's going to be a no-show. But don't do your trek without just getting them in advance. That website probably makes it super easy, right? Go on the website, got your tickets, you're waiting. They're waiting for you. You don't have to worry about it. When it's a world premiere, again, everybody wants to see it, and just the cast you've got here. It's a lot of our favorite names and faces.
Yeah,
they have their own family and following that'll help fill some of those seats.
Yeah, and this is the ladies fighting during the bingo game for various reasons.
So there are moments of humor, but there's also some heart tugging in here too.
Yeah. No, it's a very digestible play. I mean, I compared it. I always compare everything to Chekhov. But the wonderful thing about Chekhov is that he's very real, and some of it is absolutely hysterical, and some of it is absurd, and some of it just kind of gets you in the heart. And I think that's the beauty of this play. I think that's what Zach does.
And the running time, it should clock in at about what, with an intermission?
About an hour 45 at most.
With intermission or
with
straight
with,
through?
with intermission.
Intermission in
Yeah.
there as well.
And we sell treats during the intermission, so there
Oh, we like that as well. And we want to make sure we do that. A recap and a rundown again. Whoever is going to give us all the deets, as we say here.
Okay, Holdcraft Performing Arts Center at 1200 Spring Street in Michigan City. The dates of the performances are March 20 and 21 at 7 p.m. Central, 22nd at 2 p.m. Central, and then the next weekend, the 27th and 28th, again at 7 o'clock, and the 29th at 2 o'clock. To order tickets, which are $15 a piece, just go to the website of Holdcraft, which is yptcinc.com.
And it's the title, Second Glance, and our playwright is right here, Zachary Mark. I'm curious, even that from the first reading in 2023, was that the title that stuck? Or no, even that got massaged over the years? Or it's always been Second Glance?
It's always been Second Glance.
It has always been, okay. I always like to can see if that maybe has even changed or evolved during what is the process. And our friends at Holdcraft, as I mentioned, if you're wondering what this space is and thinking, wow, that's not one of the ones that I remember hearing about Northwest Indiana. Originally, it was one of the high schools in Michigan City, correct?
Yeah, it was Elston Junior High School.
Elston, that's the one. I think in my high school days, I remember going there for regional basketball tournaments and things. How wonderful now that it's an arts performing visual space, right? There's exhibits and other things that are, again, invite the public to be a part of. That is the ongoing world of the arts as we know it. The Holdcraft Players, last time they were here, I want to say it was the mystical, magical, black magic falseness. Was that the last one we had here?
Yeah, the David Mamet version.
That's
of Faust.
it.
Yes.
That's it. We were
Yes.
thinking of potions and notions and all the black spells and making deals with sometimes with somebody you might regret or around the corner, see what the payoff is or is not going to be. Again, Second Chance is a drama with inspiration from our local area. So we see the Lighthouse and we see the Michigan City community, our playwrights that he's drawn upon, his own experiences. And you've always stayed right here in the area? Or no, you spent some time away and then came back. Remind me again.
Right. Well, just going to college, I went down to Muncie,
Okay.
at Ball State, and came back and settled down in South Bend. And, yeah.
And your wife also is originally from the same area? Or no, you met her another...
I met her when I was a freshman in high school, and we've been together since. So, yeah, she's from Marquette as
So
well.
she knows the same space as well.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, Steve, since you work at different stage spaces and things of that nature, for the most part, the folks they can be in downtown Chicago or Northwest Indiana audience, does it seem to be an audience is, again, primarily an audience, there's not that much of a difference just because of a certain zip code? Because if they're into the arts, they're going to be probably making their way. I know friends that are the Gartlands that run the LaPorte they're always in downtown Chicago for a Broadway show or a Goodman show. Is that what you find that, Phil, your audience is too? If you're into theater, you're going to be in one of those seats no matter what your zip code is?
Well, it's interesting. At the Dunes in the summertime, the audiences are a great mix of people who live there year-round, people who come in for the summer or come in for weekends on the summer, and people who come in especially to see the shows there, which is a lovely thing. But yeah, they're pretty sophisticated. We have some people who've never seen a play before and hopefully have a good time. But we have a lot of people who know much more about what's going on in Chicago than I do, and I live there, and I work there.
Right.
So I am constantly kind of impressed by the sophistication and the knowledge of our audiences.
Sure.
And this is true at other theaters too, in LaPorte and at Holdcraft. They're very well versed, and they know what they like, and they know what they don't, and I like that.
That helps with the programming with the crystal ball, right? When it comes to what you're going to pick and choose,
it does indeed.
It makes it up a little bit of something for everybody, and of course, folks that tune in as being a listener or viewer, you're used to the same plea that I'll say over and over again, as our desk mates all know the same. The price of that ticket, be it a $15 ticket, be it a $20 or $25 ticket, that only covers a fraction, gentlemen, of what the overall process is and the investment of what it takes for that curtain to go up that night, correct?
Right. Yeah. I mean, typically, earned income, the ticket sales, accounts for maybe half of the income that a theater needs. Yeah. So every theater I know is always searching for people to give money, to donate, and to support what is a fairly expensive art form, because it involves a lot of people and a lot of materials.
And I don't share this story very often, but the reason I always like to put it out there, these broadcasts, of course, they go everywhere. And so folks nowadays hear it no matter where you could be around the globe, and you can catch what we're saying right here in our studio in Hammond, Indiana. But during the pandemic, as a columnist, it was tough to come up with things to write about in some degree, because none of us were going anywhere. We were only in our living rooms. And so I got called out to our friends at 4th Street Theater in Chesterton, where their stage was trapped with the set from the play Red. Is that the one with the artist? With the artist. It was frozen in time. But the reason they had called me out to say is, can you help us out with writing something? Because, going for so many months, we can't afford the typical bill, and so we're thinking maybe we'll do a sale of some of our costumes, something to keep us going. And I did that column, and sometimes it's a fairy tale ending. A donor came forward and gave them more than 6 figures and said, do you need more? And helped rescue Little 4th Street Theater right by the road with their 80 seats. And it wasn't even a regular patron, so it wasn't, she always sat in the front row. It was something they weren't really familiar with. Usually these are patrons also that say, no, I don't want a lot of attention. So I'm always saying, if you're out there and you want to help support the arts as a patron now, when so many things have been trimmed with our Indiana Arts Commission, which was often a sponsor of this show over the years in history, with that trimming and those purse strings closing, do your homework. Go to the website for Holdcraft, Dune Summer Theater, any of those, and there's, I bet, a spot to donate or how you can help. It can be bigger, it can be small, but it does make a difference, correct?
Absolutely.
So it's a great way on this lucky St. Patrick's Day to toss it out. I've got good feelings about the performances that are coming, so we need to do our final recap and rundown so folks can mark their calendars.
Okay. The play is called Second Glance by Zachary Mark at the Holdcraft Performing Arts Center, 1200 Spring Street in Michigan City. The performances are March 20th, 21st, and 22nd, and the next weekend, the 27th, 28th, and 29th. Friday and Saturday night performances are at 7 p.m. Central Time, Sunday at 2 p.m. Central Time. Tickets are only $15, and you can get them by going to the website of the Holdcraft Center, which is yptcinc.com. So I hope that you can all join us for what I think is going to be a really lovely performance.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Steve Scott, Zachary Mark, our playwright, for being a part of our conversation. As always, Luke Miller for helping join his co-hosting duties, our producer, Adriana, for being a part of our conversation discussion. And to you, all of our listeners and viewers, for being a part of OfNotoriety. I'm your host, Phil Potempa, and we hope that wherever your path might take you, be if you're hearing this morning, noon, or in the evening, we hope you enjoy the rest of your day's adventure. Good. Now we're going to do our photos. Everybody.